That's pop jabs, reach, who's king? Southpaw, switch, lead, hook, chin, ping. Scorecards, rematch, who got rock fast, all on the B&D Podcast. It's the B&D Podcast. Big clash, rounds, belts, big gas, lock it. The B&D Podcast. It's the B&D Podcast. Big clash, rounds, belts, big gas, lock it. The B&D Podcast.
Yes, guys, it's another episode of the B&D Podcast, proudly presented by Danny Glover and Bass the Kid. You know what it is. How you doing this evening?
What's going on, people? What's going on? It's been a very eventful week already, and the week's just started. So we are going to provide you our thoughts, our opinions. Some of them I don't think you're gonna like, but you know, we gotta do what we gotta do. It's gotta be authentic. It's gotta be us. So I'm good. Hope you guys are good. Let's get into it.
Yes, so last weekend we had a few shows. The Magnificent Seven, of course. We also had a PBC card in the States. So I think it's only right that we start with the Mag 7. The first fight we're going to talk about is, I think, the one that everyone is on everyone's lips right now, and is Moses Itauma versus Jermaine Franklin, 5th round knockout, spectacular performance. And what I would want to know from you is, first of all, give me your assessment on the performance overall and what you thought of the fight.
I can't lie to you. Look, it was one of his best performances. I mean, look, I guess we're going to say that anyway, because every time he's trying to show us something different. But apart from the first round, which was still good, it was just at a pace he realized he couldn't sustain, which he was intelligent enough to admit and, you know, calm down. But punch selection was there. You could tell that he was thinking, he was probing. Like, the footwork is as it should be. Vicious. And the good thing about him is, even though he's getting bigger and he's still growing, and we don't know what kind of weight he's going to topple out at, because he started boxing so young, he's still kind of got that small guy movement, those small guy nuances that you only learn when you start boxing as a young child. Even you've kind of still got those kind of twitches, because it's like, you know, it's ingrained in you from when you're this lighter person just moving about. So while you might not be able to sustain it for a long period of time, it's something you only learn as a youngster. So yeah, you just see it. Jermaine, he fought. I don't know if his game plan was maybe to try and take it to sort of the second half and see if he could maybe get some more success then. But he didn't really fight, apart from, I think, the 4th round. I can't really say he fought like someone that believed he was going to win the fight. And look, I guess sometimes the reputation precedes you. You have to just, you just have to kind of see what if the hype is real. But it's like, I think we need to see at this point someone go into the ring and then not try to adapt to what Moses is doing. Just do your thing and see if he can adapt to you. I think that's going to have to be the next challenge, because everyone trying to do it the other way is clearly not working. He's just too fast, too sharp, too much of a switched on mind. Look, it was a good performance. It was a dope knockout, or at least a knockdown. There's controversy potentially around the actual stoppage of the fight, which we'll maybe talk about in a little bit. But overall, I can't really say much, man. It was a near perfect performance from Itauma yet again.
Yeah, my opinion on it, spectacular performance. Very shocked. I thought that it was going to go to points, but I guess what I thought might or possibly could happen did happen, where I was saying hopefully the fact that Jermaine Franklin has cut his locks off, he's obviously lost the strength of Samson, and he started touching that canvas because he wasn't doing that before. But to be fair, the shots he was even taking prior to that was really snapping and thudding. You could hear the shots, even with the crowd cheering, you could hear the shots landing. I'm like, wow, these are some really fast, powerful shots that Moses is landing, and the punch selection he has is very impressive. His IQ is impressive, as you said. The fact that he started young, I believe he started at like 9 years old, so he's still got those schoolboy championships movements, junior ABA movements in his repertoire. Whereas most heavyweights, if you look at them, a lot of them started as late teens or in their early 20s. Deontay Wilder started as an adult. AJ started more or less as an adult. Look at David Adelaide, started as an adult. Um, Tyson Fury, I know he had fights in the caravan parks and that, but him actually having bouts, when you actually see his amateur contests, he's already about 6'6", 6'7", so he's probably like in his mid to late teens. So I haven't seen heavyweights. The heavyweights you normally see, they don't normally start that young. Even Mike Tyson started at 15 because they're usually big, strong, probably strongest in their school or very hard around their area. And then someone goes, "Oh, you're a big guy. You should get into boxing. Oh, you can fight. You should get into boxing," rather than just being a normal, average-sized person or even small, like say a Sonny Edwards, and you just boxing for the sake of boxing. You're just a kid in boxing. But Moses started, and I believe he started out in Slovakia, and that's where you can see some of that Eastern Euro style mixed in with the what he's picked up over here. But I don't think he learned those moves out in Chatham ABC. So he's he's obviously, yeah, he's very advanced. I would say he's very advanced beyond his years and with his maturity as well. So when you're saying you need to see somebody come to implement their style and tactics on him rather than them having to adapt and start off defensive and then become offensive, hopefully down the stretch. Who would you recommend as a possible opponent in the future? Who would you like to see? And who do you believe in, like the top 10 could even, like, who do you feel would beat him or would be a risk where you'd say, stay clear of that person for now?
I mean, let's be honest. As much hype as we give Moses, right? And don't get me wrong, he deserves it from the eye test. I'm not a big proponent of the eye test. I'm a big proponent of do it in the ring and show me. Like I don't feel like you people should get passes based on what we think you can do. Like, show me you can do it. Right? Now, the top 10 themselves, there's a potential that everyone in the top 10 could beat him. Like, if we're going to talk of the people that are like the most likely to be able to, I think Ajit Caballero has a potential to be able to do so. Well, actually, forget the top 10 because I feel like the top 10 at this moment is full of a lot of people that are coming towards the end of their career and maybe ain't got the styles. Here's the people that I actually think would be good matchups for Moses. I think that, obviously, I think Richard Torres would be a great matchup for him because Richard's not going to do all that biting on the feints and stuff. He's going to press forward and rush you and make you have to move and work the same as everyone else. Now, maybe he might get knocked out in the process, but he's going to go with the tactics and his game plan. So Richard Torres is a guy that I think would be a good opponent for him. Danny Perro, I think, would be a very good opponent for him. Obviously from that Cuban school, hits hard, nose angles, also a southpaw. So a lot of the southpaw advantages that Moses may have ain't going to have the same. He won't have those sort of same advantages because they'll both be at the same disadvantage with the lead hand. Plus, obviously, that Cuban school is that Cuban school. We all know how stylistically accurate they are. And we also know that from that fight with Cesar Navarro, that Daniel Perro can take a shot, can get hurt, and can come back at the end of it. So there's those two. I think at this point in time, we need to see what Terra Moana's really got. He can't keep feeding him journeyman time after time. He may not be as quick as Moses, but I guarantee you that he's not going to be biting on feints every moment and just waiting for to see what you're going to throw and trying to counter it. No, he's coming to swing his own shot same time. He does get hit, but he looks like his chin is made of some sturdy stuff as well. We all know it's the shots you don't see coming, and sometimes speed kills, as they say. But at this point, we need to run the gamut with him and see what that's saying. We need the likes of Bakadir Jalalov. We need. I know maybe he's a 2 or 3 fights away from possibly that at the moment, but I would say Joshua Edwards, the new American hope. Let's see what he's got. Ultimately, Moses needs to fight the guys from his current generation. I know his reasoning before was I'm gonna be able to have the time to fight all these guys, but if I don't fight the other guys now, they're all gonna retire, and I'm not gonna get in the ring with them. Well, unfortunately, that generation is like two generations past you. In some stages, it's 3 generations past you. That's not your era now. You need to show that you're the leader of the new school. And to be the leader of the new school, you got to take out the new school, and announce yourself as the number one for there. So those are some of the people that I would say. If we're going to talk about names that everyone in the UK knows, because clearly, when you see these people getting paid to give their opinions, they're only ever talking about the same 3 or 4 names every week, and it's a bit laughable that they're getting paid to do it. We do it for free and always have better takes than them, but that's another story.
Yeah.
All right, some of the people over here that I think would be good fights. I think that, surprisingly or not, and this might sound crazy, I think a Jamie TKV fight would be good for Moses. I think someone like that who's able to be rough, rugged, kind of can be on the inside, has got a pretty decent, sturdy defense, and is someone that, again, is gonna. I'm not saying he's gonna win, but someone that's going to, that is not coming in just for a paycheck. I mean, outside of that, as much as I've got an issue, I think like the chin might not hold up to scrutiny when it comes to a Talma. Justice Hooney, someone that started boxing very similar ages as Moses, as a young boy, so he's got those quick twitch fibers as well. Like, good combinations, doesn't have a great deal of power, but has got a good boxing brain, was a very decorated amateur. Like, those are 2 people that I would say would be good bouts for him, sort of, if we want to sort of gauge that. Because ultimately, one thing, I will say before I throw it back to you, Moses he's incredible from a talent point of view, right? But everyone lauding him as like the next best thing. The guy ain't fought a top 10 heavyweight yet. So, I mean, it's crazy how he's the heir apparent in XYZ. He ain't fought someone that's in the ranked top 10 now. And the only person you could have maybe said previously was Dillian White, but he dropped out of the top 10 about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Or 4 years ago. So when you look at it from that perspective, we need to see him in with the top level of guys before we start crowning him the king and the heir apparent. But yes, the tools are there. But those are some of the suggestions I'd make. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I would keep him away from the likes of Ajit Kabayel, Jalalov for now. I think a good fight would be someone like Filip Hrgović, because he can box and he can take a punch, like he can really take a punch. And he's a man who has a lot of confidence, somewhat arrogant, and he'll actually come to move to Moses, whereas Franklin in general seems quite passive, even when he's fought the likes of AJ and Dillian. Yeah, he nearly beat Dillian, but Dillian was a faded person, and AJ he got comprehensively beat quite well, like quite widely, but still put up a decent fight. But I'm talking about Hrgović, I feel would actually impose himself and really actually come to win. Another fight I think would be good would be Efe Ajagba. I think that would be a good fight. I totally understand where you're saying some of us are getting carried away with Moses, because once again, you've actually hit the nail on the head, because just last year, or say 18 months ago, myself and loads of other people was getting very carried away with the American sensation that once was in Jared Anderson. He then beat a former top 10 person, i.e. in Charles Martin, even though it was a bit of a stakeout. And then what we saw happen when he got beat by Martin Bacoli got knocked out once he fought a man in the top 10. So, well, as you said, that top 10 thing is an actually interesting matter that you've brought up there. So that will definitely have to get clipped. So thank you for that. What other fights? As you
I
said,
forgot one, which I think you might be worth you talking. Guido Vianello. He's tough, durable, and also very quick. Came from a tennis background, so he's got footwork. That's another. That's another. He's maybe not be a top 10 guy, but he's a guy that you can, that you could definitely gauge the activity and the speed sets with.
yeah, and I'd say top 15, and that's still high enough in my opinion. Guido, and he can punch as well. And one other, and the thing with the TKV thing, yeah, it'd be a good fight, but I think that's another one where it'd be a bit political because of the gym in it. As everyone's talking about Fabio Wardley, but another one, even with him trying to go for the British title, that'd be political as well, because then you've got, it's not as bad because it's Barry Smith, but then even with Fabio, he trains up in Ipswich with his guys. He just more uses Ben Davison as the tactician for his fights, whereas Moses is fully Ben Davison Performance Center. But it's all the same camp at the end of the day. So their gym's doing very well. The winner of, if Richard Riakporhe, no, probably I wouldn't say, I don't think that's a good fight for Richard. But yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see him in with a top 15, top 10. And some of the guys you did mention, I think are very good shouts, actually.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So also on the card of the Magnificent Seven, we had Train Hutchinson versus Ezra Taylor. I messaged you in that day and said, you know what, my last call is that Hutch Train is going to stop him, even though I said on the show before that I thought that Ezra's going to get it done, but
I can. Yep, he's not capping. He did message me before and say that he does think that Hutchinson will get the stoppage, as much as he doesn't want that to happen. So yes,
yeah. So when I took all the emotion out, I thought Hutch Train's going to get the job done. Hutch Train schooled Ezra Taylor, in my opinion. Ezra, lack of experience, lack of amateur pedigree. What did you make of the fight?
I mean, exactly what you said. As much as I don't want to say it, that's what happened. It was, and I mean this only in terms of boxing, not in anything, but it was man versus child in there. Like when you don't know, you got your little, well, for you as your children, for me is like maybe my little cousins, my godchildren, and you just mess about with them, and every time they try and run and hit you, and you just switch and you just give them a little sidestep, and then they're all befuddled, they don't know which way to move. That's what it looked like in the ring. Like he was literally just leading him around the ring, like almost like a cat with the little fluffy. Hey, come on over here! Oh, no, it's over here now. It's over here now, and it's like he had nowhere to go. And I was on the stream so frustrated because I know that obviously Ezra doesn't have the amateur set, but I knew he could have done so much better. And the reason I feel like what he could have done better is ultimately stop trying to box this guy. You don't have the same level of boxing experience or skills as him. Like I don't know when you started boxing. I think it was 19 or 20 when he actually got in the gym for the first time. So he starts boxing as like that bigger guy. Hutchinson been boxing since he was like 7 or 8. Since he was in primary school, whether he attended school or not, I don't know. I'm just saying he was boxing from them ages there. So in terms of you're not going to have those same skill sets as him. So don't try and box him. Do the old cliche. You fight the boxer. And, quick tangent before I've never understood that saying. Fight the boxer, box the fighter. I mean, I get it from that standpoint. You fight someone that you just can't box with, or you box someone that you're not a better fighter than. But ultimately, if I'm a fighter and you're a boxer and I fight you and you box me, well then it's a stalemate. I've never understood that saying, but either way, we're going to use it for this one. Yeah, he should have fought him. He should have basically been on his chest, like literally in his wheelhouse the entire time, pumping that double jab, that triple jab, whether he's going upstairs, downstairs. If I was him, I would have kept the backhand tucked. Now, look, again, I'm not a boxer, so I'm not trying to tell people how they should do what they. I get it. When you're in the ring, is different. But I would have never been trying to throw the backhand. Everything I would have done, everything off that lead hand until I've got him in the ropes. I would have been putting my elbow in his rib cage. I would have been putting my forearm in his throat. I would have been getting warnings left, right, and center. Rough him up first, then try maybe box him once he's all tired and broke up. That's how I would have looked at it in my way of thinking, because you're not gonna outbox him, and that was what. And even though my prediction was that he would win on a split decision, because I thought he's gonna get befuddled and all and played and and just messed about for the entire like first 3-4 rounds of the fight. He'd be able to figure it out and sort of come back a bit later on when Hutchinson starts to gas a little bit and starts to get a little bit lax as we know he can do. But he was just, the fact that Hutchinson was able to control his pace like so well in the fight, I got to give him props. He did not come out of maybe second gear. Maximum he maybe went to third for a few minutes, whereas like you could tell that he was making Ezra being fourth and fifth, like on the motorway, just racking up miles and not getting nowhere. It was just unfortunate. And yeah, he was throwing backhands from the outside. There was even times when he had opportunities to throw a shot, and I feel like he was so concerned with like, what's Hutchinson doing now? What's he about to do? And then the moment's gone, and then maybe he gets like some back flick jab towards his face, and he just missed the moment to shoot the shot. Especially when sometimes Hutchinson likes to bend and then he dips down to the side and tries to run off. Like there was time he'd run off. The brother's running off. Run after him. Swing her ass in his, and don't swing it to the head, like, because he can dip under that. Swing it to the chest and make him fingers get into the head, so when he dips down, hopefully it lands. And that would have been my whole tactic. Everything I would have thrown would have been from like chest downwards. I'm not aiming for your head anywhere near the first 3-4 rounds of the fight. Like that's where every shot's going. I wanna bust up your nervous system. I want to make it hard for you to breathe. And then eventually we'll get to work with trying to throw headshots when you're in the corner and I know you can't go nowhere. But yeah, that's my uneducated take on how he should have handled the fight. But yeah, as the way he did, thinking he could just box and set him up, and I don't know if that was Malik's idea, because I did hear some of Malik's comments, and to me they sounded fairly reasonable in the corner, but I don't know what they worked on in terms of the game plan. But yeah, it just failed spectacularly. So I'm not happy about it. Obviously, I've got quite a good relationship with Ezra and his team, and I've really wanted him to, and I really thought he could. Although I must admit, my prediction was based on the fight being a 12 rounder. I didn't realize it was 10 rounds. So I feel like once I heard that, my prediction kind of, because I said split decision. So I probably said Hutchinson would have still been able to keep himself in front for the 10. But in the end, he didn't need it.
Yeah. From what I saw in the training videos, I think Malik was trying to make him box, but I noticed he was making him work on hooks, which I don't think was really going to work with someone who's moving so elusively like Hutchinson. So, but what I did notice is, first of all, Ezra was trying to box with him, which is not a smart idea. This is a man who beat David Morrell Jr. in the amateurs. You have to remember. So this guy knows what he's doing. I remember in your predictions video, you said you thought Hutchinson was going to like befuddle him and confuse him, which he was able to. And then what happened in the fifth, Hutchinson hit him with a pull counter, and I saw Ezra's eyes. He got stunned, and his eyes, and he looked like, oh man, this I'm not used to this. Now, then, as you said, now when there was opportunities, he was more concerned with, is Hutchinson what's he gonna do next? Is he gonna hit me with a pull counter? Is he setting me up for that? Is he lining me up for that? Where's he gone? Now he's missing. Now he's flicking me. Now he's doing these moves like Jagger. Now he's styling on me. And what is Ezra? He's not a fighter. I don't think he knows how to fight inside. like that. He's got long arms. He's sweet boy looking. He's not a man who's gritty like say a Boatsy. And the style to beat Hutchinson, which I've noticed both times with Lennox Clark, he took a bit of a pasting. But what he did, he kept pressing forward, walking into shots, walking through the shots, and then eventually caught up with him and then splattered him. Joshua Boatsy, we know what he's on straight away. He's moving to him. He's working the body. He's getting inside. He don't mind taking one to hit you. So that's the way to really defeat Hutchinson. Unless you're a man who can style and profile as well, i.e. Ben Whittaker managed to beat Hutchinson in the amateurs, but we know both of them got moves, so it's really just the battle of the moves. And I guess the Jamaican has got better rhythm, so that's probably what happened there. So, but other than that, Ezra, he got shown that it was easy money for Hutchinson. He said to Simon Jordan, "You got to eat crow now. You was trying to. I don't have to work in Tesco's. The only thing you've boxed is eggs." And Hutchinson said it was easy money, easy work. And one thing I was speaking to Craig Richards, and he was quite happy about that result because he said he's been noticing Ezra talking a bit of smack about him, saying that what was your best win? I would have dealt with him, and all these guys are old. Boatsy and Craig are old, and I'll deal with them. So he feels that people like him are getting a bit ahead of themselves when they ain't proving nothing. So he was actually the first time he actually wanted Hutchinson to obviously win, just to shut him up, because he's thinking, you ain't done nothing, you ain't proven nothing, you're a baby in this thing, and you're trying to disrespect the OGs up in this, and you need to be brought down a peg or two to reality, because you're probably thinking, because you're training out in America, that you're doing something that these other men ain't ever seen before. So yeah, just putting it out there.
Fair enough.
But also, sorry, going back. No, we'll get to that one later on. So on the card, also, what I would ask you, rather than going through all the fights, what would you say was the upset of the night for you?
Oh, without a doubt, it has to. I mean, maybe it shouldn't even be an upset, but Brad Paul's KO in Shaquille Thompson. Like, I didn't see that happening. I didn't see Brad Paul's getting knocked out, but I did see Shaquille winning the fight on points. And up until the 9th round, he was very far ahead with just his natural, height and reach dimensions. But in the first, in the first 3 rounds, I thought, okay, I like the way he's boxing, but there was a few things that he was doing that was a bit concerning for me. I was like, he's boxing from southpaw stance, but he's boxing with both the lead and the backhand low at times. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if you've got your lead hand low from southpaw, you can possibly get hit with that jab if when Brad Paul starts to barrel forward. Now I know Brad Paul was primarily in the high guard, trying to just basically soak up the pressure, and then he was trying to throw the up jab from that southpaw stance. Was Shaquille Thompson, but it was just a case of, because the hand is so low, all it takes is one, almost like a flicker with the jab hand, to be able to get that right hand into play. And there was a couple times, Brad Paul's tried it and was just a bit too far away, but you could see it was just getting closer and closer at times. So yeah, I mean, that was definitely my upset. I didn't see that one happening. I guess you could also possibly say Jordan Flynn against Michael Gomez Jr. Gomez had one foot out the door, basically. But yeah, because I didn't watch all of the fights, including like the ones on the undercard. I only saw about four of them altogether. So there's still some that I'd have to go back and check. But yeah, I'd probably say Shaquille Thompson. I mean, there could be a shout. You say Nathan Heaney getting beat by Jerome Warburton might have been considered an upset. Yeah, those ones.
Yeah, that was my one, actually. I was going to say the Jerome Warburton. I just thought Nathan Heaney. I just thought that was like in the bag.
Yeah.
and he just got he just got beat. He got out. Yeah, he got out boxed, out fought, and I think Heaney. I don't know if he's. I think he's definitely on the slide. He's obviously got taken out by Brad Pauls. He's on the slide. He looks in good shape, but maybe he just can't. It just isn't working the way it used to. Yes, the Brad Pauls one was a shock. I actually thought that I predicted that Shaquille Thompson was going to get the stoppage over Brad Pauls. So when Brad Pauls managed to turn it around, the same way he kind of turned it around
against Heaney.
Yeah. He's just got that Cornwall spirit, boy, and he's just moving to you in the end. If all else fails, he's just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna have a fight.
and that's what they needed to give some of Ezra.
Yes, but it's one of them things. It's either in you or it's not. It's one of them ones. Like as we talk about Wardley, he's got that as you call it the Uff it mode where it's just like no, I'm not having this no more. I've had enough. So it's either in you or it's just not. Unfortunately, it's not one of them things you can teach. The same way with a fighter we'll talk about a bit later on as well. Actually, so. Yeah, I think that the Jerome Warburton one was the shock of my upset of the evening. What did you think about also? Do you think people that are overhyping that fight where they're saying it was the best one round of the year with what's his name? It was one of them. It was one of them early. It was the first one.
I know the fight. I didn't see it. I know the run. I know the fight you're talking about. I'm sure someone will put it in the chat. I didn't see it, so that was one of the fights that I wasn't because I was on my way home from the gym when the show started, so I missed the Flynn one and that one, and I just heard them talking about it just before Liam Davis started his ring walk and stuff. So I didn't see it. I can't comment, unfortunately.
Okay. What is the name of it? Someone put it in the chat for us, please, just so I ain't holding up the thing. But yes, then we're going to go over to the American card and the PBC, and we had Keith Thurman, one-time Thurman versus Sebastian Fundora. Sebastian Fundora managed to get the stoppage over Keith Thurman.
Oh, sorry, it was Alex Murphy and Josh Holmes.
That's the one. Yeah. Oh, you haven't watched it, but no. Yeah, for me, it weren't the round of the year because the first 2 minutes, nothing was really happening. It was just like the last minute where it all caught fire. So it was a great minute, but round of the year, I would say, what's his name, George Liddard and Tyler Denny's round 10 was a better round than that overall.
Round 9, I think it was.
Oh, sorry,
both of them, but round 9, I think, is where it started. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, I thought that was a better round. To be fair, this so far 2026. But yes, so with Keith Thurman fighting Sebastian Fundora stopping Thurman in the 6th round. I'm sure you watched the fight. So, what did you think of the fight? And also, what do you think's next for the Towering Inferno?
Okay, so what did I think of the fight? It played out exactly as I thought it would. Anyone who watched Basis Picks, you would have heard me say, like, there is nothing that Keith Thurman does or can do that's going to prevent him from getting knocked out in this fight. I said the most he's going to be able to do is take it late into the fight, but the only way he's going to be able to win is to basically be willing to try and break down the front door and understand that when you're breaking down the door, you're going to take some damage and some punishment while you're sort of coming in the entranceway. But ultimately, you've got to be in there. You've got to sit on his chest. As much as Fondora likes to kind of work inside, his arms are short. His arms are longer than yours, so you have to use your short arms to your advantage. Like, you have to get on the inside, rough up the body, maybe step back out, ambush, loads of ambush attacks, trying to fight him from the outside and pot shots and flick jabs here and there. The guy's got an 11-inch reach advantage over you. Like, even the times when Thurman thought, I've got a gazelle punch in me, and he's trying to throw the shot, Fundora literally just putting his arm out, big extension, like, and you've got Keith Thurman. He's not even able to reach the side of his head. Like the punches are literally they're landing here on this part of the guy's arm. Like it was just totally wrong tactics, but it's the tactics that Keith knows because that's how he fights. He's used to fighting people that are of a similar size. 5'7", 5'6", 5'8", 5'9". Like that's his wheelhouse. That's what he excels in. He's not used to fighting someone 6'5.5". Like
Even 6 foot, because when you look at his best fights, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, these are all
short guys.
shorter guys. They're not even Errol Spence height, to be fair.
Yeah, no, you're right. So even with that, you say to yourself, that whole moving on the outside, like and even if you're saying, okay, well, I'm going to show him movement and angles that he hasn't seen, you're still too far out to be able to take advantage of it. So if anything, you've got to be in the mid range, making him move and making him have to turn. Because one thing about Sebastian Fundora, as long levers as he's got, like arms and legs, like he turns like a truck because there's no grace in the turn. Like he turns like a giraffe. There is no quick twitch motions. So if you're gonna be the cat in that situation, then you're gonna have to be close to his legs. So when he is trying to set that lead foot so that he can throw the jab, just before the foot actually hits the ground, you can throw in that big backhand to the body, and then you're already off again. You're spinning off the target again. And then that whole analogy is apropos. The cat versus, so let's say it's a lion or a tiger, a cheetah, whatever, against a giraffe. Okay, yeah, you're going to be able to befuddle them, but guess what? You're still not getting to the neck and the body. You're still not going to reach there because their legs are still just too tall for you, unless you bowl over two of the legs and make it drop. Like, but that's the only action. So it's the same principle. He fought the wrong fight. I thought the fight would last a little bit longer because I thought he just might be a bit tricky. So I thought, between sort of around 7 to 9, it would go maybe around sort of the 8th and the 9th round. But what it was what it was. One thing I will say is I can kind of agree with Keith Thurman regarding the stoppage.
That's what I was getting to next.
Yes, it was going one way, fine, but ultimately in the ring, what do we ask for? Protect yourself at all times, show me something. Like, so in those moments, he is trying to swing back. He's on the back foot, but he is moving his head. He's not taking every single punch flush. There's multiple times I can see from the TV screen without an instant replay that the shots are landing on the guard and the glove. So it's not like, he's taking every single one of these shots that's being thrown in. He is trying to fight back. He is lucid. You can see that he's cognitive and understands what's going on. So there wasn't, and at the moment when the referee actually did jump in and stop it, there was no action happening. And I feel like that's probably a part that you say to yourself, you didn't really do yourself any favors there, ref, because if you jumped in when he was like getting, landed 2 or 3 shots on the gloves, and he's like he's in the corner trying to, stave off the attack, that makes sense. The guy's literally jumped out and managed to disengage from the action to collect himself, and that's where you choose to jump in. So I agree with him in the sense that I think that stoppage, just for where it was bad, but from the perspective of it was only going one way, and maybe we're just trying to save you from further damage because you're not having any success at all, maybe I get it. But it also goes to show, shout out to Lennox if he ever watches this. I mean, he has made very many comments regarding, when it comes to Thomas Taylor reffing fights and things happening that shouldn't happen. Thomas he's not beating the allegations on that one for, in my opinion. But it's one of those ones I'm not going to be up in arms about it. But I do think that it was stopped at the wrong moment, personally.
And then what do you see, or would you like to see next for Fundora?
I already know what I'm going to see from Fundora next. So what I would like to see is him actually beat the upper echelon guys in the division. He's got a lot of good wins on his resume. But if I was him personally, I feel like he probably would have needed to run back that Mendoza fight. The one guy that gave you a L, that jump back in there. But look, he's got Tim Tszyu, former world champion, on his record. He's got Erickson Lubin, two-time challenger. No, sorry, one-time challenger. But he's got good PBC names on his record. Let's say that, right? But there's work there. There's like you dropped your belt rather than fight Xander Zayas. Well, now he's got two belts. Like that's a fight you should be looking to run back. Jaron Ennis is there. Virgil Ortiz has been your interim champion slash not mandatory, but your number one contender for 2 years. And I know the reason why that fight hasn't happened. But yeah, like there's that fight there. You got a man like Sergey Boachuk. I know that he's now moved up technically to 160 with Zuffa, but there was those kind of fights. And yeah, there was just a lot of work left on the table. But he's going to move up. His next step is he's going to go up to 160. Especially now Carlos Adames has vacated, or he hasn't vacated yet, but he's announced he's stepping up to 168 to fight people. So that WBC belt's going to become vacant. He's going to jump in and try to swoop in and collect the 160 WBC belt. He's been running the play for the last few months, talking about, well, I only really care about WBC. Like, I don't really care about the other belts. I'll fight people and then I'll give their belts away, or I won't, let their belts be on the line. I'm cool with the WBC. They've been good to me. Well, what belt's becoming available at 160? Oh, it's that one. Very convenient. And then you've got the first fight you'd have to fight is someone like maybe Abel Ramos, who is not the most active guy. So that's a fairly comfortable introductory fight to you for the weight class. That will be the next thing I see. Maybe if we're lucky, we might get a unification between him and Erislandy Lara at 160 for two belts, and then he might hold on to those. But that's what he's going to do next. He's going to move up to 160. He's going to avoid this new crop. Well, I say avoid. Let me be fair. He's probably going up there to get acclimatized before they eventually come up. So he'll be like, he can try and be kind of the guy up there. And then probably by the time they are ready to move up there, if he still doesn't like his chances against them, okay, maybe I'll go up to 168 now that all of that class is cleared out, because all of those top guys are going to be gone as well. It's going to be one of those. I feel like he's going to keep distance between himself or those people, unless he's got a very, very sustainable advantage over them in the interim. But look, agendas. Me and my PBC thing. I just know how them man move. So that's what the play is going to be. And I feel like just by your smile, you kind of know that I'm usually right about these things.
Yeah, you are usually. So I won't argue against that one. So my thoughts on the Keith Thurman and Fundora fight. Decent performance by Fundora. I predicted that Fundora would win, but I had a feeling that I think that Thurman had a chance of maybe catching him. As you know, Thurman likes to do those leaping athletic springs in. Even now at 37, he's still able to do that type of stuff. And he's just like he was able to move out of the way and things like that. And I noticed that a couple of times at first he was falling short. Then as the fight progressed, he started to get more of his distance, where he started using the weight on his back foot to then launch off as Fundora comes in forward. As you know, he likes to come forward throwing his straight shots and things like that. And there was a couple of times where he landed a couple of counter hooks. And at first, when people see Thurman's face at the time of stoppage, oh yeah, it's a great stoppage. But then when you're actually watching the fight and actually watching the sequence unfold, I have to agree with Thurman that he was on the move. And he said that what he was doing is, he said after another 4 minutes of him trying to do all that, he said that's when the fight was going to get really interesting, because he could feel that Fundora was starting, the power was starting to kind of go from his shots. And he thought that after that, that's when he was going to turn on the heat because he'd finally found the range. He was on the move still. He wasn't ever wobbled. He didn't drop. And he just felt that the ref jumped in. And you got to remember, this is a man who is a former 2-time world champion. And yeah, I think he did get hard done by. And I can see what he was actually trying to do. Yes, he was well behind on the cards, but for what he said, how he planned to, what his tactics was, and if it was another 4 minutes is when he was going to start, he felt that that's when he was going to fade, and then he was going to start getting his what he wanted to do off. I kind of believe him, So I do feel that Thurman was right in feeling upset and aggrieved on that. Going back to the first fight we were talking about on the night, I'm very like, all right, fair enough. I understand Jermaine Franklin because he's a fighter and they're always the last one. Maybe when he watches the replay back, he'll go, oh, damn, right, that was mad still. But the trainer to say that was a BS stoppage and that was early and it shouldn't have been waved off. I don't know what kind of coach he's on. I don't know what pay packet he's on. I don't know his agenda. But I just think that is very incompetent and dangerous of a trainer to say that was early when Jermaine Franklin, the way he went down on his face, so heavy, and after he'd been knocked down already by a temple shot, and he was getting hurt and busted up. The body shots was hurting him as well. I don't know what the trainer was thinking. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm glad you brought this back because I was actually looking for a way to segue back to this. So here's my thing, and I'm a disagree slightly. My position on this, right, is okay. That first shot, it did knock him down, the temple shot, but he got back up. He seemed lucid, like he seemed fine to continue, and he carried on for another 2 rounds. Right, he had another sort of temple shot just before the uppercut landed, which sort of looked like it hurt him. The uppercut obviously turned off the lights. That the right hand barely connected, and he was on the canvas again. He did fall face first, but my thing is this: you heard the ring key, the timekeeper or the MC doing the count. He goes 1, 2, and then at 3, the referee was waving it off. So he hasn't, at the time when he's waving it off, he hasn't even looked at Franklin on the floor. Like, obviously he's seen him drop, but he's moving Moses towards the corner at this point. And then he turns back and just waves it off. But as he's waving it off, Franklin is putting his arms up to get up. And then the referee kneels down. I think it was Steve Gray. He kneels down on one knee, and he's holding the back of his holding the back of his back. And he sort of looks at it and says, no, it's enough. It's enough. Now, at that point, I understand where Franklin is coming from. And look, as unpopular opinions this might be, I understand where the coach is coming from. Here's what you do, right? And this is why I understand where the coach is coming from. You've waved it off without giving the man an opportunity to see if he can make his feet. Now, 2 things have happened in this instance. They've said, because Ade, shout out to Ade, apparently one of the producers said to him it was 20 seconds before Franklin, from the time he hit the deck to the time he got to his feet, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we already know, it's been established in every single rule book that it's a 10 count. Not a 10-second count, it's a 10 count. Now, whether that would be 10 seconds, whether it's, I mean, in the UK's case, it's normally 8 seconds because you have to be on your feet by 8. And if you're not, then then they wave it off anyway, more time than not. So 8 seconds, 10 seconds, it could be 12, it could be 13, it could be 14. Like maybe they go to do the count, someone comes close, you push them back, and then you go back to the count. So it could be whatever, right? But my issue is start the count. At that point, the guy, if he's trying to get up, he's trying to get up. He should have the right to try and get up. If you count him out, or if you get to 8 and he's still wobbly, or he like slides back down, or he's like on his knee and he's nowhere near ready to continue, cool, you wave it off then. But to not even administer the count when the guy is still he's conscious at this point, like to me, that's what I find wrong, and that's the part that I agree with the coaches. If he was like face down on the floor, splattered, looking like one of the chalk outlines in a murder movie, and he ain't moved for like when you've done 4 and then you've seen 5 and he's not moving. All right, cool. But that wasn't the case. The guy's clearly he's still clearly conscious. He's trying to get himself together. Give him the opportunity. Chances are he's not going to make the count anyway. But administer the count. Give him the opportunity to prove that he can get up, and that's the only thing that I feel is was missing from the situation. So I do understand the coach and them not saying that's to be a stoppage, like, and even when people say, "Oh, it took him 20 seconds to get up," you can clearly see in the footage the referee holds him there and says, "It's okay, stop, like the fight's over." So yeah, to me, I understand the team's frustrations. I'm not saying that that it shouldn't have been stopped when it was stopped. I'm just saying that you should always administer the count. Because even look at the by comparison, you had Brian Norman Jr. against Jin Sasaki. That was a more vicious shot and a more vicious drop, and Sasaki head bounced off the canvas at all sorts. The referee still started the count. He got to, I think, the 6 and then realized that Sasaki ain't moving and said, "Yeah, it's over." Give him an opportunity. If the guy's trying to get to his feet, at least give him that opportunity. And I think that's the part where the team have the right to feel aggrieved. Whether anyone else, whether the UK guys agree with it or not, because look, at the end of the day, they're all gonna, number one, they're all gonna side and, for lack of a better phrase, bum lick Moses. Like, that's just what they're gonna do anyway. And anything that's happened that either they can do no wrong or behave, he was just gonna get hurt anyway. Cool, let him get hurt. Not seriously, but let him get hurt. Like, that's the game that they're in. That's what they've signed up for.
The hurt game.
Yeah, the rules. That's what the rules stipulate, that you're supposed to be given a count, unless you are incapacitated to the point where you can no longer defend yourself or whatever. We don't know if that was the case. Yes, he might have been wobbly. They may have been saying, "Oh, well, maybe we shouldn't allow it because he could badly get hurt." But he's shown that he's tough, durable, and has made it through fights with fairly big punches before. So it's not like he's got a history of getting mad concussions or always getting knocked down and wobbly and bandy legged and all that stuff. Like I said, I'm not saying that it was wrong to be stopped when it was, but administer the count. That way, the team can't tell you that it was a bullshit stoppage. Well, what bullshit? He got counted out. He got knocked out. Couldn't make the 10 count. But when you just wave it off like that, which a lot of UK referees are very quick to do, you give people the opportunity to have a criticism. The same way that Furman was talking about Thomas Taylor. It's like, well, you waved it off in a moment where I weren't, there was nothing actually happening at that moment. How did you know I couldn't have come back into that fight? Yeah. So, yeah, just in order to save the argument, I always say my thing is administer the count and complete the count to its conclusion, unless obviously someone is like convulsing in the middle of the ring or eyes are just shut stiff, that leg twists up underneath them and all sorts of things like that. Then yeah, that's my opinion. I don't know if you can disagree.
No, I disagree. I think I think that the fight was done. I know that yes, referees in the UK are quicker to wave a fight off, but I feel the fight was done. I don't think Franklin was gonna get up on sturdy legs after that kind of knockdown. And I thought it was the right thing to do. Yes, I know Americans are more likely to count, as many people have stated, even when you're talking of going back to Fury Wilder 1, had that 12th round knockdown been in the UK, a British ref would have waved it off. So he was fortunate that it was Jack Reese who administered that count, because that allowed him to get up. So it's one of those things. I just think it was the right thing. And I think the trainer, he surely would have realized this isn't normal for my fighter to be going down like this and get really hurt. I know Franklin, he's going to always believe that, it was too early, but I just think the trainer would have fought. But American trainers are more brutal than our trainers. So we have to keep that into consideration as well.
So do you not subscribe to the rule then that give them the count and eliminate all doubt? Or do you think, no, wave it off if it's just going one way?
If I was a ref, I would be counting. And if I don't see at least some kind of movement after a certain amount of seconds, then I'll wave it. But
So then you must agree with me then, because you just said you do the same thing that
If I was a ref, but I understand how the UK ruling is. As we know, as you said, with the 8 count, we know the ruling. So an American can come over here, try and be up at 8. Hold on, at 8, and then we're like, yeah, but we know over here you got to be on your feet at 8, otherwise it's done. But Americans are going to be like, no, that's not how we do things over where we are. So it's a territorial thing, really. It's just you just got to, what it is. I think people have to learn the law of the land before they travel, find out certain things, do their due diligence, have connections with other teams and coaches out in the country. Possibly they're going to fight in and find out any customs which may differ from theirs. Just like what's his name? What's his name? He went over to Japan.
Oh, Brian Norman
Stephen
Jr.
Fulton. No, Stephen Fulton.
Oh, yeah.
When he went over to Japan and he realized that the rapping technique's different over there. Where they say in America and the UK that is stacking, over there it's just normal. Everyone can just rap their hands out. They want freestyle way. So yeah, it's one of them ones. It's but I understand. I respect any differing of opinions. It's just my opinion. I think it was a good stoppage. I'm not going to say it was one of them mad ones which the UK refs have, face some sticks. I'm not going to give no stick for that.
Oh no, like I said, I'm not saying that it shouldn't. It wasn't a good stoppage. I'm just saying I can understand the team theory and agree, but give him the count and eliminate all doubt. That's especially when you look at the fact he was getting up. The referee had waved it off before he'd even seen that he was trying to get up. So yeah, as again, if you look, it's one of the ones if you look back and you just sort of see the screen and you just look at the moments of things that are happening and what's kind of going on in those moments, I can see why they're aggrieved, and I can agree with just like I said, eliminating all doubt with that.
Yeah, as we know, with Furman and Franklin, we got to remember they're American. They're from the home of the brave, so they're the brave hearts. They're on going out on their shield properly. So also, with I forgot to mention, with Sebastian Fundora, I would like to see him fight Virgil Ortiz next. Reason being, as we know, our guy Boots, or you call him Slippers, he's fighting Xander Zayas, so he's booked up in a big fight. So unless he's going to fight Josh Kelly, Fundora, which I don't think is going to happen, the only other big fight I think would be to fight Virgil Ortiz, who's yet to have a title shot. So in any weight class. So I think that I would like to see that next, personally, in my opinion. My next
Ortiz ain't even gonna. I don't even think he's gonna be able to fight again this year, or at least not until that November. So,
because of the legal trouble.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's annoying. Also, we had Kevin Newman II versus
was that what's his name? Elijah Garcia.
Yeah, Elijah Garcia. Yeah, we had that on the card, on the undercard. Elijah Garcia, it was 17-0 versus Kevin Newman II, who was 18-3. And Elijah Garcia was having his way at first, and then we saw a mad speech, very out of character, for Roy Jones Jr. Just reading Kevin the riot act, and Kevin managed to go out and secure the victory and turn the fight around. What did you think of the fight? But more importantly, because there's been a very mixed bag of feedback, do you feel that Roy Jones was right or wrong with the way he was cornering Kevin that night?
Right, so in terms of the fight, I haven't actually watched it back. I saw the commotion, but I just didn't have time. So that was one of the ones I missed. But I did see the speech. Now, here's my thing. I didn't see anything leading up to that, so I don't know what he would previously been trying to work on, what he'd been speaking to him about, if he'd been trying to get him to implement stuff. But for Roy to go into rage mode in the corner is not something that we see often. So clearly, Newman is doing something or is not doing something he's being told. And I guess at that point, Roy's looking at it like, yo, people already trying to talk dirt on my name when it comes to training. I'm telling you what to do. You're not securing the bag. You're not about to ruin my legacy as a trainer, like just doing your own thing. And maybe it's a case of also, if we look at Teddy Atlas and the whole "we're firemen" speech and all of that, sometimes you just know how to get into your guy's head, and you know how to manipulate their mindset to do what you need them to do in the ring. Maybe that's what Kevin responds to. Is it right? Case by case basis. Another fighter wouldn't have responded that well, would have like capitulated. Ryan Garcia probably would have started crying in the corner. Like, but
Or Gerard Anderson.
oh, or even maybe Anderson. But clearly it worked for Newman, and he ended up winning the fight as a result of it. So it was the right thing because he won.
Yeah, yeah. But with the Gerard Anderson, Roy didn't even raise his voice at him, and he started crying. I'm only 23. So yeah, yeah. I say that it's case by case, and as you said, I haven't seen Roy ever do that. So for him to do that, Kevin was obviously moving mad, and he's like, that's why he just thought, like, are you shook? Like, you scared? Like, he's bitching you out. He's bitching you, like, if you don't want to fight, I'll put you out. You don't vote. Just quit boxing. So from that, he's thinking, rah. So from there, he's just started turning up. So it obviously worked. He obviously, as some people I saw say, you got to know your fighter. You got to know your fighter, and also Roy probably was just frustrated. Like, hold on, I've spent how many weeks with you? Like, I'm obviously this ain't no Terence Crawford purse I'm getting a cut off, and you're just moving mad like on big TV. Like, nah, fix up. And he had to fix up, and guess what? It worked. The main thing, whether we think it was right or wrong, whatever he did, it worked. Had he had lost, it's like, oh, come on, you broke the kid's spirit in the corner. You made him lose. But that speech, he can go down and say he's helped him win. So it's one of those highlight reel moments, just like Teddy Atlas, just like we've seen Emmanuel Stewart going mad on his guys. We saw Leon Edwards in UFC, his trainer, giving that mad speech as well. So yeah, it was a good moment. I say that. Roy Jones did actually apologize for his language on the broadcast, but hey, his heart was in the right place. So yeah, big up to Roy, man, and big up Kevin Newman for turning it around.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it really. We've got got quite a big week this week. We've got loads of shows.
There's about 6 of them all together.
Yeah, like I saw, like even Lawrence Price's one popped up on my timeline.
Yeah, you got Lauren Price versus Stephanie Pinheiro. You got Pat Brown against Vasyl Ducar.
Yep.
You got Tim Tszyu against I can't remember the brother's name, but PBC card, but in Australia. Obviously, you've got the Olympia card, the MVPW on Sunday. Zuffa, I've got a card Sunday as well.
Yes.
And there's one other one as well. Oh, and obviously Chisora and Wilder. So
Yeah.
six cards.
Yeah, 6 cards. Yeah, massive week. Well, you guys are gonna have to tune in for Basis Picks. That's gonna probably be an hour. But
I might have to just do it as a live stream at this point.
yeah, you're gonna have to, or you might have to we're gonna do a podcast on it. But I'll give you a quick rundown. I think Chisora stops Wilder. I see Lauren Price winning via. I see Lauren Price getting a stoppage. I see Pat Brown getting a stoppage. I see the Zuffa one. I don't even remember the guy's name, so forget that one. Caroline Dubois. Oh, do you know what? This fight's going to be tougher than people think, or maybe tougher than what Caroline thinks. I feel that Terry is going to initially, her plan is to weather the storm early. So I don't think she's going to walk into something heavy. and I think that he's going to make this fight tougher than Caroline would have possibly imagined. But I do feel Caroline's going to eke out a point victory. Ellie Scotney, I believe, will win by UD unanimous decision. Um, yeah. Any other thoughts? Did you want predictions on?
What isn't what's his name?
Jordan Thompson.
No. What is the brother's name? Cruiserweight. Vidal Riley, isn't he on the undercard?
Oh, a Mastinek. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Vidal Riley will get a points victory over Mastinek. I think Mastinek has seen better days. You got to remember he fought the likes of Tony Bellew, so we're going back a while now. That was for the European back then. So yeah, I think with Vidal's youth and his boxing ability and speed of youth, that he will be too quick and too, nimble for Mastinek, and you'll get a. I see a UD on that one as well.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's the majority of them. So
Yeah, of the
yeah,
big
in
five.
terms of the picks, people, yeah, I might do a stream on Thursday, um, because obviously Good Friday and that, the people's going to be out enjoying the the Lord's weekend. So yeah, we might do one on Thursday for my predictions, or you might get 2 or 3 separate videos, for the picks. We'll see how it goes when I'm recording.
Yeah, so there we have it, guys.
Well, I guess technically we haven't spoken anything about. I know you touched on it briefly, but the Boots and Zayas, the Zayas and Boots fight. Like you mentioned it, but in just a quick summary, your thoughts? Good fight or no?
No, I think this is a good fight. We know that Boots has, he's been trying to get the Ortiz fight, but I guess Ortiz has been trying to get the fight as well. So we're not going to do it. I'm not going to slander him like that. He's had people in the background holding him back and fiddling him around. So I think as a next best option, Fondora's just fought, so that was obviously out of the question. So the next best option is Xander Zayas, who has got 2 belts. So, you fought Lima, you got the IBO. Obviously, no one's really rating that. So you've got a chance now to win 2 belts in your new weight division. And this is a good fight. Xander Zayas just beat Abbas last time out on points in a very good fight. And yeah, we got Puerto Rico versus Jamaica. I know they're billing it as Puerto Rico versus Philly, but you don't put a whole country versus city. So yeah, man, I think this is going to be a good fight. It's in New York. You got the Puerto Rican, so they're going to come out because there's a big population of them out there. There's obviously Philly ain't too far from New York. We've got the Jamaicans out in New York as well. So yeah, I think this is going to be good. Going to be very good in the Barclays Center. Eddie Hearn knows how to promote. Both have a good support system, and Zayas, he's with, who's he with? Is he with
Top Rank?
Oh, Top Rank.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got Bob and Eddie. Yeah, they know how to sell this properly. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, Battle of the Islands in the concrete jungle.
Yeah, Brooklyn Zoo.
Be a nice one. Yeah, no, I agree. It's a good fight. I mean, I guess maybe for you and your ultimate subscription, it's all right. But for the regular guys who ain't bought that, it's not. I don't think it should be a pay-per-view fight.
Oh, it's pay-per-view.
Well, they haven't announced it yet, but it's going to be. Come on, that's going to be a pay-per-view.
I don't know.
It's going to be a pay-per-view. I assure you.
Yeah, well, if it is, that's still, to me, that's not feeding me.
The person that wins that fight could then legitimately call himself a pay-per-view star afterwards, especially if it's Xander, because he does have that island behind him. And remember, he was on Super Bowl, so from you, he's got that Super Bowl recognition now. Like that's a possibility. I feel like the winner could become a pay-per-view star. But that fight in itself, it's a good fight. It's a great fight, but it shouldn't be a pay-per-view. It will be a pay-per-view because it's a world title shot with 2 up-and-coming Americans or, Puerto Rican Americans that you're going to try and promote as that guy. So this, if you are on the ultimate subscription, it will be as a part of your subscription free. And for everyone else, we're going to have to decide if we want to pay the £25 at 3 o'clock in the morning for the fight.
Well, I'm telling you now, it's not worth £25 for us. Obviously, I'm ultimate, but still, that's not that. I'm still got. I want answers. I still need to speak to Eddie. I didn't want to ask it in the scrum, but I've got to catch him or Frank, and I want answers. Yeah.
Well, if you remember, I don't know if you saw it, but I actually spoke with Frank and I asked Frank about it. I didn't get a chance to really sort of delve into the answer because I had limited time. But I said, look, there's a lot of people not happy with this, this old model. Now, I know that it's not you guys. I know that, but ultimately you are the figureheads of the zone. Like, do you feel that there's, a way that maybe this can appease the people? Or what would you say to the people that don't really feel like they're getting the value for money? Or I said something along those lines. Check the Frank Smith interview that I done a couple of weeks ago where we do try and address it, but I just didn't have enough time to push back on his answers.
No, I watched it, but he didn't really. I know how you normally would frame it, but because you probably was constrained with time, because normally you kind of get in there, so it wasn't. I didn't get the answer I wanted out of him from you. So at some point, one of us have got to catch him.
On the next event I know I'm gonna be at is the one in Wolves. Now I'm hoping prior to that I might be able to see a Alfie Sharman or one of the other guys at the zone. And I don't normally interview those guys, but I'd be quite happy to do an interview with one of them and ask them what's their reasoning and what's their thinking behind a lot of these fights and why is so much going behind the paywall, etc., etc. So yeah, you can kind of leave it with me as much as possible. Because you can only really trust yourself to get the answers that you want, and we'll see where we get to.
Yeah. Because there was enough man in that scrum, and one brother in particular, he got a lot of questions off, and he was just talking about a whole load of madness. Like I was thinking, brother, I want to get this. I want to get some questions off. But hey, it is what it is. I might try to get to that Wolves one because that car's looking good. Connor Walker. He's going to be in another Rumble, so man, I'm looking forward to that show. To be fair, so but yeah, man, hope you all enjoy it. Get in the comment section, leave comments in the comment section about any of our takes and opinions, or leave in the comments also anything you'd like us to talk about on next week's show as well. We're open to all opinions and things like that and suggestions. Let everyone know where they can find your base.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Obviously, rocking with us. You can catch me mainly, if anything boxing related, is usually on Twitter X, the old X account, or at B_A_S_E, at basethekid.thc on TikTok. I promise I will start putting some content back on there. At basethekid on Instagram, but that is very seldom anything boxing related unless I'm tagged into clips or myself and Danny put clips up. But generally speaking, if you want boxing takes, you find me on my channel. You probably are watching through that now. If you're not, or you're on the YouTube or you're on the Twitter X, it is Base the Kid, the Hardcore Casual, as my name is spelled on the screen. So you will be able to find any of my takes there. Obviously, we do the weekend podcast, the B&D podcast every Tuesday. We occasionally will go live off of fight nights together or separately as well. And you can always find me on multiple other platforms when we're doing collaborations. So that's my site. So if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. It is much appreciated.
Yes, and big ups London Ball Out TV. Thank you very much for your continuous support. And you can find me at Danny Glover FFTV on Twitter /X, you know the drill, and on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You can find me at Fight Fan TV Network. Fight Fan TV Network. And there you have it, guys. Until next time, is another episode of the B&D Podcast. It's Danny Glover. It's Base the Kid. And remember, guys, persistence beats resistance. You know where it is.
Peace.
Shaq stacks, pop jabs, reach, who's king, southpaw switch, lead.